Welcome back to another very self-indulgent douche-isode. We're gonna go through a few new LPs, one new reissue, and talk a little music, drink a little beer. If you're interested, this is a local to me here from Santan Brewing Company in Chandler, Arizona. This is Jungle Jack Tropical Hazy IPA. It's not bad. It's gonna get you where you need to be. That's for sure. If you were here last week, I was coughing pretty much non-stop. The video that I wound up posting was hacked up because I had to get rid of all the coughing. It was if you had seen the unedited version, it was delightful, very, very delightful. So I'm gonna show some records, move on. You know how it is. Also, if you're interested, if you'd like a snack, feel free. Meat stick available for you. First up, this is the third LP from a trio out of Brooklyn, New York. Kind of a synth pop trio, we'll call it, called Nation of Language. The album is Strange Disciple. It's on Play It Again Sam Records. I'm a fan of Nation of Language. We've talked about all three of their albums now. They have a new bass player for this record, Alex McKay. I think I know who that is, but I got conflicting information, so I'm not going to say in case I'm wrong. Although it doesn't usually stop me from saying stuff. So synth pop is one way that I think a lot of people describe them, but it's very much 70s German, like electronic krautrock influence with 80s kind of that retro futuristic synth pop thing. So kind of icy, kind of a little bit dark. Has a lot of additional layers of sophistication. I feel like the progression from the first record to here, it's much more sophisticated, but still with really high quality, well-crafted songs. It's printed in her sleeves. I opted to just go for the Fancy Pants Delicious Black Vinyl version instead of one of the actual Fancy Pants editions. So these guys have kind of quickly, because the first record came out in 2020, so they've only really been on the scene. The first LP came out in 2020. They've been around longer, but they only really have been on the scene for a few years, and they've really developed, I think, or gained a fairly large cult following. I don't really know very many people that like them. I think I probably know more people that don't like them than do like them. But they do have a really big following, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. I think this is a really, really good record. If you're averse to kind of that 80s sound or the 70s krautrock, it's really that late 70s, early 80s retro sound. It might be a tough sell, but I like it. Nation of Language, Strange Disciple.
Walk me home and walk away.
Next, this is the second LP from something of an indie pop supergroup. Go by the name Swansea Sound, and the album is 20th Century. It's on Skep Wax. Yeah, so a supergroup of sorts, I think, formed in the quarantine times of 2020. Recorded that debut album, which we've talked about before. Maybe I'll link to it, but I'll probably forget. We talked about that debut release also earlier. But they had recorded it in isolation. Features Rob Percy and Amelia Fletcher from Heavenly to Lulagosh, Catenary Wires. Also has Hugh Williams from the Pooh Sticks. And on this one, Bob Collins from The Dentists. He was not on the first record, I don't believe. But then there's and more. So this record, it seemed like, this band seemed like it was going to be a one-off. You know, that they just did it out of boredom during the pandemic. But now they've forged ahead. Now they're able to record in a studio together, in person. They've brought in other people. It is maybe more polished of a sound. It is still vintage, like twee pop with, you know, a pretty big sense of humor. It's a little bit satirical, I guess. Yet I don't know if that comes from Hugh Williams. Probably does. So it's occasionally surfy, occasionally pub rocky, occasionally pop punky. Pop punky is the printer sleeve, which has the words there on the back. And this one's also on some delicious black vinyl. Yeah, I'd say if you're not really a fan of twee pop, if you're not a fan of these people, maybe a little bit of a tough sell. But if you are a fan of the Pooh Sticks or Heavenly or the Dentists, those kinds of bands, recommend checking out Swansea Sound, which I think Swansea Sound is like a defunct Welsh. I'm gonna get this wrong. I read this, but it was days ago. Like radio station. That's what I'm thinking it was. I don't know if it was a pirate radio station or actual radio station. Swansea Sound, 20th Century. Next is a new release from Slumberland Records. The artist is called, which is a group, I believe, called Tony J, and the album is called Perfect Worlds. It's a San Francisco quartet, very lo-fi, ethereal, maybe slowcore, sparse, like bedroom pop. It's very sparse. I think it's probably a tough sell for a lot of people that are watching this video. It's recorded entirely in 2021. It has a very dark, kind of isolated tone to it. Very moody, minimal sounding. The insert that has the words on there. But for me, it very much kind of draws me in, and it has the melodies in the songs are very oddly, strangely familiar, I think is the way that I would say it. But maybe it hasn't quite coalesced for me as an album yet. Maybe I feel like this is something that I need to come back to after a little time. Yeah, this one is on. It's on some white vinyl. I don't know if you've ever seen such a thing. Tony J. Perfect Worlds.
It throws me off my back face first into the pavement. One day the birds will sing to me. I'm trying to wing it.
Feel free to go in and grab seconds or thirds on the Jungle Jackets. It's really hitting the spot. All right, this is a reissue of an album that came out originally, I think in 2006 in the United States, 2006 in Canada, the beginning of 2007 in the United States. This is the 8th LP from the long-running Canadian power pop group called Sloan. This is their double LP called Never Hear the End of It, reissued by their own label, Murder Records. This is a 30-track, 76.5-minute double LP. They do a spectacular job with their reissues. Really nice packaging, beautifully pressed vinyl. This is kind of an epic reset in their catalog. I think maybe the albums that came out just prior to this, I don't know, maybe if you go the 2 or 3 albums that came out prior to this, it kind of started to become like a little bit like a template. There was the albums were very similar in the way they were constructed. I think they're good to varying degrees, but they kind of needed to, kind of a reboot. And so this is, like I say, 30 tracks. So side 1 has 7 tracks, side 2 has 8 tracks, side 3 has 7, side 4 has 8. And many of the songs are very short. They kind of oftentimes feed into one, like run together, almost like they're like in like suites. Like I think like the second side, like the B side to Abbey Road, it kind of plays like that, where the songs roll together. Still a lot of like that early 70s power pop influence or 70s rock influence. So that's most of what you have. And the four different guys, they sing and play different instruments on every song. So it just kind of works. When this came out in 2000, so let's say in 2007, for me, I had my doubts that this was going to work, that it was going to work for me, but it really does work. Everything it flows together. There's a variety of styles. There's a little bit like 70s style heavier guitar rock. There's a little bit of punk for because the songs are short, so there may be like a minute and a half punk segment into a more Badfinger power pop song, and then a ballad. It kind of, because of the way the album is constructed, it never wears out its welcome. That's what I'm gonna go with anyway. Here's the insert that comes with it. There's no way, there's zero chance I'm gonna be able to read these words. The vinyl mastering does sound different to me to the CD and the digital versions that you may have heard. Some people may prefer the CD. It's significant to me. It's significantly different that you would notice. I think that there's more dynamic range on this versus the CD for sure. I don't know about the streaming version. But some people, and I know many people, will prefer the CD, and possibly, this is it's nearly 77-minute album. you might prefer to just put that CD on or listen to it streaming and not have to flip the record. But that goes for everything that I'm showing. Anyway, I'm a fan. Chances are, if you don't like Sloan, like I say this all the time, but this is probably not going to change your mind. Although this is a different kind of album, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this would. So Sloan, Never Hear the End of It. Thanks for stopping out. We'll hopefully see you next week. Cheers.